Hello everybody, this is Ian Chiquino and I'm going to do a strategy video here for Protoss. This is actually a PvZ. This is a game from MLG Dallas. It is Dignitas Naniwa versus EG Machine. And a lot of questions I see, a question I see quite frequently is, how do I make use of scouting information? How do I, when I run my workers in his base and scout around, what am I looking for? What do I need to notice so that I can take advantage of it, capitalize on it, and then win the game in that situation. And that's what I'm going to try and show you in this replay. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on inside Naniwa's head, of course, but based on what he's seeing here, I think you come to the same conclusion I did. So I'm going to play this replay and kind of go through it here with his camera vision on. So we'll see what he's looking at here on this game, and we'll kind of walk our way through it. So we can 2x speed through this stuff. This build is opening up as a standard, a standard Protoss opening. You get your pylon at 9, you get your gateway at 12 or 13, you get your gas then at about 14 or 15, and then you get, actually let me pause this for a second. I'm going to put myself on busy. There we go. And like I said, just a standard build here, but I'm going to watch it through his vision. Chrono boosting out PvZ, of course. But let's kind of get here to the scouting information and see what Naniwa sees. So we can see him coming into the base here. He sees a drone moving out, so you can safely assume that drone is either going to be scouting or it's going to go the expansion to put down an expansion. So as a Protoss player, you want to try and block that as much as possible. You can see he's getting over there, and he's going to try and block that expansion. There we go. He's back here. He's just going to sit here and block this expansion and just kind of delay that as much as possible in that machine. Smart players, he instantly throws down the spawning pool. He knows that Naniwa is a good player, and he's not going to mess up. He's going to keep this expansion, I don't know why I keep saying that, expansion blocked as long as possible. So he already spent his money, threw down a spawning pool, so he's not going to be delayed, as bad as it would be if he would wait for this, probe to get killed and then put it down. He would have like 700 minerals. That'd be a complete waste. But he's just going to continue to harass the probe and get that spawning pool up. Now, Naniwa is going to run away here. He's only one hit left from actually being killed here on this probe, so he's going to stay back a little bit. He's going to go back to his base, do some more macro. Now he's going to come back, see if that the drone is going to lay that expansion. You need to come back now. He's running his probe away. You can see that on the mini map. Now he's going to come back. He's waiting for his shields to regenerate, and he's going to head back in there in a second just to make sure there is a hatchery. You don't want to have your opponent fake them going a hatchery, then end up they've got a roach warren and you got roaches in your base, and that would be a bad problem. So you can see he's going to go back in there. You can see the mini-map is there. You can see the expansion there on the mini-map, and he's going to come in here and do some scouting. Now, it was super critical that that probe actually survived. He didn't sacrifice the probe for that. Now, he's going to come in here and scout, and instantly, what do you see? You see a spawning pool, you see like one larva, and you see no gas. So you see a lot of drones and no gas. Now, usually players, whenever they do this, they like to get gas, relatively close to their spawning pool finishing. Now, in this situation, I think, let me pause this for a second. In this situation, you've got no gas, and you've got an early expansion. So they've put a lot of money in that resource into that expansion. So I think Naniwa decides at this point that he's going to go play very aggressive, and I mean very aggressive, coming out here. So he's going to fall back, and he's going to move over here to that Zellnaga tower. You saw him click there and go next to that Zellnaga tower just to make sure, just keep an eye on any type of movement of Zerglings coming across the map there. Now we can see he's going to go up here, take the Zellnaga tower, going back to his base for a little bit there, and he's actually going to Chrono Boost out the rest of that Zell, and Chrono Boost out a Stalker, and Chrono Boost his Warp Gate. Now you can see the build so far is pretty much a standard opening. You can see there he saw the Zerglings coming up to take control, and now he's going to quickly move out of the way. He's going to get out of the vision of that Zellnaga tower, and his probe is going to be in a position here to do scouting or to place a proxy pylon. Now it's actually going to be used for a proxy pylon in this situation. But you can see right now he's going to throw up his 3 gateways. Now you may be saying, oh, he's just going to 4-gate. He was probably planning on doing that from the get-go. I don't know if that's true. It may be true, but I think that he noticed that there was no gas being placed, and he knows that there's going to be a small timing window where he can actually get his 4-gate up and deal a lot of significant damage before before those Zerglings get Zergling speed. Now he can see right here, I'm going to pause this here for a second, you can see they're on the map. In the Fog of War, you can see that the Zelnaga Tower is actually activated, so he knows there is a unit there. So you can see he's going to click up there and then clear that out before he pushes. Now I'm going to go back to his base here just for a second. Now he pushed out with just a Zealot and one Stalker. So he's got a Zealot and a Stalker, so his base is wide open. Now you may be wondering, isn't that dangerous, Kent? Aren't you afraid of Zergling run-bys? But whenever your Zerglings don't have Zergling speed, this run-by is not a problem almost at all. It's just not a big problem. Most Protoss players kind of sit there at their wall hoping that Zerglings don't get in and kill you. But that situation really is only a problem if they do have Zergling speed. And Naniwal knows that there is no Zergling speed anywhere close to coming. So let's unpause this. He's going to easily be able to pick off that Zealot, Zergling there easily. No problem. And he's going to push out here. He already has a proxy pylon up, so he's going to be able to warp in his first 4 rounds, or first 4 units right there to that pylon. Now you'd be thinking, what do you want to warp in as your first 4 units here in this situation? Probably Stalkers. That'd probably be the best situation. Okay, so right now he's pushing in and he's scouting. What does he see here? Well, first of all, we see 1 Spine Crawler, we see a couple drones already being transferred, and a Queen, and then just 2 Zerglings. So in this situation, 1 Spine Crawler, I think, is too few Spine Crawlers for this particular build machine is doing. So I think he's reading this. Okay, he spent a couple larvae on drones. He's made 1 Spine Crawler, not 2, but 1. Now, if this situation would have been different and he would have had maybe this Spine Crawler closer to the ramp, or maybe 2 Spine Crawlers, I don't know if Naniwal would have continued this attack, or if he just would have turned around and played defensive again. But if he was seeing maybe 2 or 3 Spine Crawlers, if that would have changed his mind, I'm not quite sure, because you can easily block off this ramp with Queens and Zerglings, and while your Spine Crawlers are poking weight, any units trying to break up there. So I think he's reading this as, okay, he doesn't have that many Spine Crawlers, he's got a couple drones, and he's got this Queen out here in the open. So I think it's going to be safe for him to continue this 4-gate. So he's just going to keep the pressure up here at the front of the base. He's going to make sure that if he can pick off any Zerglings now, that's going to be the exact time he wants to do this. He wants to pick off as many Zerglings as possible before Metabolic Boost finishes. Now we can see up here, speed for Zerglings is on the way. It's being researched, so it's going to be here pretty soon. But every Zergling that he can kill up until that speed being finished is extremely critical. Now he's going to warp in 4 Stalkers instantly as soon as these warp gates finishes. So he's going to have 6 Stalkers and a Zealot. Now, you need an obscene amount of slow Zerglings to kill Stalkers, because Stalkers are very fast, they're ranged, and they just kill Zerglings so fast. And without speed, Stalkers just do ridiculous amounts of damage and are just insanely hard to kill with just even the modest amount of micro. So you can see here he warped in 4 Stalkers, so he's got 6 Stalkers and a Zealot, and now he's pushing up this ramp. That Spine Crawler was too far away, so he knew this ramp was going to be completely fine. Now I'm going to pause it here for a second. You can see he's got 15 Zerglings out, 15 Zerglings and 22 drones. So he hasn't over-droned dramatically. Usually you get about 20 to play it safe, but he's only got 22, so that's not, game losing right there. But he's got 4 more Zerglings being produced, and Metabolic on the way. Got an Overlord coming, so he's not going to be supply blocked. So let's just see how this fight plays out. We got 6 Stalkers and a Zealot versus however many, 15 Zerglings coming out, with 4 more being produced, and then speed on the way. Now look at this timing window. He's attacking right now. Speed is so close to being finished, and let's just see how this plays out here for Naniwal. So he's on the ramp here. He's pushing up, and he's going to shoot and run, and each time he kills at least 1 Zergling, and then applying some damage to the other ones. Queen's coming up trying to get some damage in here, and now that he's moving off the creep, that is extremely critical there. You want to micro away from the creep. Zerglings will be moving slower, the Queen will be moving slower, and this Queen is actually going to be baited all the way off the creep. Now he's warping in only Zealots. Now let's think about this. Why would you warp in Zealots the second time around? Well, for one, speed is going to be coming insanely fast, and at that point you're going to need to have Zealots there to continue the pressure, because pure Stalkers will not work against Speedlings. They do not work. But Stalkers against regular Zerglings, as you saw right there, he lost 1 Stalker. He lost 1 Stalker, and he killed, 14 or 15 Zerglings. We can just check the worker killed here. It's 21-3. 21-3. That's quite a bit, and one of those units killed was actually a probe there from the Protoss player. So I'm just going to leave that kill cam number up there, and he's actually going to kill this Queen here. He baited the Queen off the creep, and that's a free kill on the Queen, and that's a lot of damage. Now we can see speed is finished, and he's actually going to manage to kill kill some more units here, so he's going to move back here. So right now, he went straight for the queen. He's going to try and pick off the queen there because the queen is extremely important to kill as a Protoss player because it's a lot of money that the Zerg player has to invest in that. Now, we saw him micro back here to this choke point. Choke point is extremely critical to fight at as a Protoss player because you don't want the Zerglings to get a really nice surface area on you. So he quickly pulls back to the choke point there to meet up with the Zealots and then continue the fight. So let's see how this plays out. So you can see now, as soon as those Zerglings are out, he's kind of trapped here on the ramp. He kills off 1-2 Stalkers extremely quickly with just a handful of Zerglings. Now the Zealots are up front tanking it, and that queen actually dies there in the back because that Zealot was being microed there in the back. Now he's warping in some more Stalkers because he has quite a few Zealots up front, so that's going to be good. Now he's actually morphing one more Zealot. Now he's going to pick off these Overlords. That's going to be a great play there. Just kill the Overlords and force your opponent not only to spend 100 minerals on Overlords, but that's a larva they have to spend instead of making Zerglings. He's chrono boosting some more Warp Gates, and now he's just going to continue the pressure. So right now we've got, 14 Zerglings out. And he's going to go in for the attack here, but you can see just with all those Zerglings, he's going to deal quite a bit of damage. He's doing a pretty good job of trying to focus on most of the Stalkers there, but he's microing back, and he's just kind of A-moving the Zerglings in there. So those Stalkers are doing a pretty good job there, and he hasn't lost a single Stalker yet since those reinforcements. And when we have some more Zerglings coming out now, he's forced to pull drones here at this point, but it's a little too late. And now more Zerglings are going to show up, and you can see that this game is basically over at this point. These Stalkers just have lasted so long, have done so much damage. Let me just pause it right now before you GG's. Or GG's right there. Look at this. Units killed. 69 units killed versus 6. Now, just the small timing there where he attacked and Machine had to fight there to save any of his workers. He lost so many Zerglings just in the time that it took for him to get that research finished, that speed finished. I mean, we saw it there. Like, whenever the fight started, there was like 20 seconds left on that speed, and he killed more than half of the Zerglings there. So he killed probably like 20 Zerglings there, and that's a huge amount of Zerglings. And the difference between waiting 10 seconds and speed being finished and him having double the number of Zerglings with speed, the game would have completely been different. It's just this small timing window where he noticed that speed was going to be late. He knows that if he 4-gates really quickly with Stalkers, he can get in there, kill a lot of Zerglings, then switch over to mostly Zealots for the next warp in, so you can have a little bit more meat to tank for when the speed does finish. And we saw right there, there's the GG, and the unit killed number there is pretty much speaks for itself. 71 kills versus 6. You just cannot kill Stalkers with regular Zerglings. So basically the lesson here is that in this situation, he recognized that there's going to be no gas, there's going to be no speedlings. And along that, with that fact, tied in the fact that there was only one spine crawler in a unoptimal position, I think the better position here would have been maybe near the ramp. And I don't even know if one spine crawler would have been enough to deal with it, even if it would have been in a better location here. But I think the only chance of him surviving this with one spine crawler would have been have one spine crawler here block the ramp with queens, and then kind of just pull your drones from this expansion back to your main, and just kind of let him attack your expansion here until speed finishes. And then once speed finishes, then you can go in for the surround. I think spinning those Zerglings early game on that fight just didn't offer any results. He killed a Zealot and one Stalker, but he lost like 20 Zerglings. That's not cost effective, and that's basically what lost him the game there. And Naniwa just forced him to make those tough decisions with that really fast pressure, and that's pretty much what won Naniwa the game here. So I hope you guys learned something here. I hope the Protoss players learned something about reading your opponent, seeing no gas, and seeing how to just instantly hit with that. I mean, he didn't wait around for anything. He chrono boosted that Stalk Rat and just went on the attack across the map. This map has a very long rush distance, and he just got over there, got his probe in position, was ready for the warp in, and was just made every second count and just did as much damage as possible until that read that there was no spine crawlers, did a really good job, and just kept the pressure on, did a really smart job of which units he wanted to warp in and win. And I think just played it pretty well in general. And of course, Zerg players, I hope you guys learned something here too. That whenever you don't go gas first, you have to make sure that you have your ramp protected and you have enough spine crawlers to stop any possible 4-gate. And I mean, Machine did do a good job of scouting. He had Zerglings here at the front, but of course that one did get killed, and he had the one here at the Zalnagatar that also got killed. So he was kind of expecting the rush, or he was expecting pressure, but I don't know if he was expecting a 4-gate that fast or not. So maybe in that situation, he probably should have thrown down 2 more spine crawlers and played a little bit safer, but he didn't. He probably thought he could get away with it. But just those few seconds there, that small timing window, he just broke in there and just did so much damage. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you have any questions or comments, or you think I'm just completely wrong and Manuel was going to 4-gate from the beginning, yeah, go ahead and tell me, because, I mean, I don't know. I'm just making guesses here. But I think, based on what I saw, that's the smart decision he made this game. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. Leave comments, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see all of you later.